Okay, so it's been almost a year now since my last real life story investigation, and lo and behold, I found a real life story that inspired the events of Fears to Fathom Norwood Hitchhike. After hours of searching the archives, I finally found the man responsible for the formation of this inspired story. This man is a dangerous man, and what makes this person of interest so scary is the fact that he is still alive. This man's name is Larry Ralston. Larry Ralston was a serial killer and predator that kidnapped young girls before dropping their bodies in decomposing states. All of these events took place in Ohio. No, it's not the Ohio meme, but because Norwood is a city in Ohio. Coincidence much? His modus operandi revolved around vulnerable women who were hitchhiking a ride home. He would pick them, make them feel safe, and eventually do heinous acts before killing them. He was also known to stalk some hitchhiking women before kidnapping them, all of which fit the profile of the main antagonist of Fears to Fathom Norwood Hitchhike. The guy is seen multiple times in game, stalking the girl before trying to kidnap her. Larry was active during the years 1975 to 1977, meaning that the story was probably submitted by a relative to the victim, possibly one of the three teenage girls who helped identify him back in 1977 that led to his eventual arrest. Meaning that it's either her children or grandchildren who heard his story from her and told Ral, because if she was a teenager in 1977, then that would make her around 50 years of age in current time. The 1970s were a different time, a time when hitchhiking wasn't just a way to save on gas, but a cultural norm, almost a rite of passage for young people. But as the decade went on, the dark underbelly of this practice became terrifyingly apparent. Stories of missing persons and gruesome discoveries flooded the headlines, painting a stark picture of the dangers lurking on lonely highways. Serial predators like Larry Ralston thrived in this particular era, using the vulnerability of lone hitchhikers to their advantage. They relied on charm, an unassuming demeanor, and the trust of those they preyed upon. Women, in particular, bore the brunt of these horrors, becoming easy targets for manipulative and dangerous men. The fear of accepting a ride from the wrong person gripped the nation. What started as an innocent act of trust could quickly spiral into a nightmare. For many, hitchhiking became a gamble, a choice between getting home quickly and risking everything. What makes Fears to Fathom Norwood Hitchhike so effective is its ability to transport players into this era of paranoia and distrust. It takes the essence of these real fears and makes you live through them. The silent stares of strangers, the inexplicable feeling of being followed, the dread that any wrong move could lead to disaster, it's all there. The antagonist's behavior in the game mirrors Larry Ralston's methods. The stalking, the false sense of security, and the final attempt to kidnap are all too familiar, especially to those who lived through the hitchhiking fears of the 1970s. It's as if the game asks you to step into the shoes of Ralston's victims to understand the helplessness and terror they must have felt. While Larry may be locked away, his shadow lingers in stories like Fears to Fathom. The game isn't just a horror experience, it's a reminder of the fragility of trust and the ever present dangers of the world we live in. The scariest part of this story isn't just what happened decades ago, it's that these fears are still real. The highways are still lonely, the motels are still desolate, and the wrong person can still turn a moment of trust into a fight for survival. So the next time you're traveling alone at night, remember the story of Norwood Hitchhike and remember Larry Ralston. Sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones we see in games or movies, they're the ones who walk among us. Stay safe and don't forget, every horror story has a grain of truth. And sometimes that truth is closer than you think.